don't think we can be sure about anything in the Western Conference short of the Denver Nuggets,
Sure.
right? Because the West is so deep, I just think it's it's a tribute, not an indictment of the Clippers when I say that, because you have Oklahoma City, you have Golden State figuring things out. The only real disappointing team in the West that I can say is probably Memphis to this point.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's and they're without Ja and they're without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. I mean, and two of those things aren't going to change this year, but the West is loaded. So when you're saying six, you got to tell me out of Denver, Golden State, the Lakers, Phoenix, the Clippers, Oklahoma City. Like that's six right there without even including like Sacramento and Dallas, who's perfect. Now we're at eight. Then
Sure.
you count New Orleans. Like it's just so deep, and it's
Yep.
hard for me to pinpoint. But I agree with what you're saying. The logic on getting James Harden is this is not a May and June move. This is a get us to April move. And then if you're helping us in May and June, it's gravy.
Well, and that's
Because
when, and you
you
hit
know what
on
I
this on
mean?
your pod, Vinny. That's when James is a third option, is a game changer in the playoffs. That's
Yep.
fine. Like you go ahead and hit a couple big shots throughout the course of a series, fine. As long as the top two guys are playing well, you're in good shape. Let me say though, all right, I hear you. For the purposes of this conversation, let's go ahead and say they get in the playoffs, because it would be a disaster if they don't. You don't do this kind of a move. You know, Steve Ballmer doesn't walk around dreaming about coming in second place. So are they going to be lifting the trophy or not? Like the idea of winning the entire thing. And I know, you're talking a lot to unpack there, but does this potentially look like a championship team to you, or is it just window dressing?
I mean, you can be
I
a
don't think.
championship team and not win a championship, right?
Yeah, seen that.
You know what I mean? And I have yet to see anybody in the league come up with an answer for that big goober in Denver. And I said it affectionately. Okay. I said it affectionately. Who has come up with an answer? Like I don't know.
Some call him the Joker.
Yeah,
He's the
literally.
goober.
Look, if Big Vic is like Jason Voorhees, where everywhere you look, you turn around and he's there, then Nikola Jokic, he is literally like a real life Joker who gets Batman in the end. You know what I mean? Like he's the one that wins at the end. But I think, and Sam, you can agree with you, Sam. You're older than us, and I don't mean that.
Damn.
I don't
All
mean
right.
it in that way. You actually look young. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you,
You know,
buddy.
you know what they say: white don't crack, right?
Yeah,
Unless you crack.
It rolls right off the tongue. Yeah, exactly.
But in a given year, I think there are maybe three championship teams. Maybe like three teams that even in hindsight you look at it and say these teams were championship level quality. It's not always the two teams that make the finals either. It's just three teams in a given year that you can look at through their patterns through the regular season and how they've conducted themselves to look like a championship team. I feel
Yeah.
like Denver's one of them.
No question.
I feel like maybe Boston is one, but I'm not completely sure because I'm not sure
And
I
clearly
trust them in the
Minnesota with
playoffs.
the way they put it on Denver last night, right, Vinny?
I mean, clearly, you know, a team with Carl Towns that screams out championship, right? You know what I mean?
That was a good win, though.
But yeah, it was
A great win.
It was a great win. Look, any unexpected win in the Western Conference this year will be meant by applause by the other teams.
Right.
Because every game is going to mean something in a way. But to your point, I do think that this puts the Clippers in better position. But do you trust the Clippers more than you trust Phoenix? I think that might be the question.
I do right now. I do right now. I mean, like, listen, Bradley Beal hadn't hit the floor. Devin Booker's played one game. Kevin Durant's incredible, but he's not a young man.
And that Phoenix team. Here's a big thing. Like T. Lewis, who is someone that he enhances the parts that he has. T. Lue has not finished the season with Kawhi and Paul healthy. The fact that T. Lue's the one who has to keep repeating that, that has weighed on him. But I've seen the Clippers play. I've seen Phoenix play. I mean, the late game execution from the Clippers is why they have losses. You can say that for the Suns as well, but the Suns, they're just got to hope they get their guys healthy. I just don't feel like the Suns are going to be better than the sum of their parts. And I think there's a way where the T. Lue makes things happen when he finally gets these guys.
He's the best coach in basketball, if we're being honest.
Well, and here's so shameless preview. If I do my job today, I'm gonna have a piece tomorrow with scouts. You know, I do this occasionally. It's always kind of fun. Anonymous scouts weighing in on, can James Harden fit in with the Clippers? And I'm gonna quote one of them here. He's talking about all the different. He's pretty cynical on the deal, and he says, "I don't know, man. I just don't understand it from a Clipper standpoint." So that's where we're gonna see how good Ty Lue is. Right? He's gonna have to figure this thing out. So, you know, that's his reputation precedes him. Fantastic reputation, you know, obviously part of that Team USA staff now as well. And this is an interesting inflection point for Ty, because as you guys know, last season, he was quietly and at times not all that quietly frustrated with being the coach of a load management team where he just wanted guys to compete and wanted guys to be available and wanted to play basketball. And, you know, and he always kind of pushed back on that idea that he was really frustrated, but you know, it was a thing where I think, you know, he wanted to have his guys, and he wanted to see what they could be, what they could do. Now you've got even more. And I mean, shoot, last night Kawhi and PG are playing on the second night of a back-to-back. This is a whole new Clippers world, and it's one that I think Ty is better equipped for.
And if anything, it's why the issue with last year, he connected with his stars. I think he started to lose connection with his other guys, the role players who they had their roles jerked around to the point where guys didn't know whether they were playing, what position they were going to be playing, all those things, because T. Lue kind of prioritized guys like Kawhi and Paul and Russ when he got there. I think T. Lue's made a significant effort to be better in that regard, but this is a trade that tests that. I mean, we're going to talk about James, but what's going to happen with Terrence when he finally gets back from injury? Dude was named a starter, and of course he gets hurt at the wrong time. Terrence is jumping back into a new team. What's going to happen with him? He's the guy whose role gets switched around all the time. Guys like Bones Highland, guys like Norman Powell, who, I'm just going to be real, Norman Powell and James Harden are kind of redundant on this roster. It's the most redundant case of guys who are still in the team than anybody else. Even Paul and Kawhi can kind of differentiate themselves. So it's those players where it's like, we're gonna see how T. Lue continues to consistently communicate and put other guys in position to succeed.